Welcome back to the Garza Gaming Channel. Today we're talking update 7.9. The buffs, the debuffs, the upgrades, downgrades, and the two gods that are about to get buffed up. Hey, is this going to be a good thing, bad thing for Arena? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Let's get into it. Before we get into today's video, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on those notifications. We tend to put out videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but sometimes we throw out videos throughout the week, so make sure you have those notifications turned on so you get notified if we do. And if you're looking to upgrade your gaming gear anytime soon or purchase anything from the Smite store, don't forget that we're also Amazon and high-res affiliates and have our affiliate links in the description of each of our videos. Where if you use our links to purchase anything from Amazon or high-res, we get a small commission at no additional charge to you. It goes a long way helping the channel. We really appreciate that. And our merch store is actually open on our website now too, so the description in each one of our description of our videos, we have the link to our merch stores if you're interested in purchasing any shirts or any mugs. Okay, so let's get into it. Update 7.9. It's right around the corner, and I believe the first part of this is going to hit September 8th. So obviously we're going to get a bunch of new skins. You know, they're going to do some little tweaks there, but all we care about is Arena at this point, right? So let's get straight into the items. Now this is update right here is going to go into effect. This portion of the update is going to go into effect September 8th. And the first item that I want to talk about is Serrated Edge, right? Because Serrated Edge got introduced not too long ago. I believe it was like about 2 updates ago, and it was awesome for assassins. Now what this did is it allowed you to have an extra 40 attack power and 10 life steal if all 3 of your 1, 2, and 3 attack was down, not including your ult, right? So if you had all 3 attacks down on cooldown, it gave you a boost in 40 attack power and 10% life steal. So what they ended up seeing is that there was only a few niche guys that would be able to have all 3 of their cooldowns down at one time. I know myself, I was seeing it regularly on my Arachne, which benefited very much from this item, and my Loki. Other ones, gods, you know, because of the low, especially late game, the low cooldown timers, it was kind of difficult to really benefit from this item. You know, if I did have all 3 cooldowns up at one time, it wasn't for very long. It was maybe like a second of that. So what they're doing now is they're going to try to make this item a little bit more beneficial, so for a broader group of gods, right? So what they're going to end up doing is they're going to slice up the benefits of this, and they're going to allow you to give a portion of benefit, start getting a portion of the benefit if one of your cooldowns is down, if the second one is down, and then the third one is down. Now they changed up the item a bit, and what they ended up doing is they took away 5 attack power base. So right out of the stats, they took away 5 attack power. But what they ended up doing is giving you, where if you have 1 cooldown down, they give you 1 stack for every 1 cooldown, 1 to 3. They're going to give you 1 stack of basic attack power and 1 stack of 3% life steal. So if you have 1 attack down, you're going to have an extra 5 attack power that you normally wouldn't have had, right? Even when them taking away that 5 attack power, you're getting an added 10. So they took away 5, gave you 5, so you're still coming out with 35 attack power, right? I'm a math whiz. But that's how it works. Now granted, if you're one of those that were constantly using, you know, all 3 attack power, all 3 cooldowns in order to benefit from this, you are going to lose 10 attack power and you are going to lose 1 life steal. But realistically, the blended use of this from beginning to the end of an arena game, you're going to see a huge benefit, a huge increase in attack power and life steal and healing from the way that they fixed it or changed this item up. So I think that Serrated Edge is definitely an item that you're probably going to want to test out as soon as it goes live. I know I will. Okay, so the second item that we want to talk about is Hide of the Lehman Line, or Lehman Line. I've never used this. I'm not going to lie. I've never used this item before, but from reading what some people were doing, is pretty sneaky actually. Initially, what they did is they implemented this item with the intent for tanks to use it, right? And what it did is they used it for every, I think it was like 15 seconds or so, or 12 seconds. It gave you 1 stack, and up to like a total of 2 stacks, the way it is right now. And what that did is it allowed you to get hit and not take any damage from a basic attack. So you had 2 blocks. So you were able to withstand 2 hits. So for a tank, that was pretty significant, right? But what was happening is they had non-tank type gods, warriors, and probably even assassins that would pick this up to benefit from that block, right? And then they would build high attack. So what they would do is they would engage a god and was able to absorb 2 hits while they were doing, their mass damage. So, I mean, pretty much these high damage gods were getting a 2 to 3 hit head start on going toe-to-toe with other gods. So that's pretty significant. So what they ended up doing is they fixed this item now where the item is pretty much the same. I think they added an additional stack. So now you get a total of 3 stacks. But the caveat to that is you don't get the benefit of a stack until you get at least 100 defense points or protection points, right? So what that means is whether you have 50 magic protection and 50 physical protection or 100 physical protection, the way you want to math it up, it doesn't matter as long as it equates to 100, 200, 300. So at 100 you get 1 block. Once you break the threshold at 200, you get a second block. Once you break the threshold at 300, you get a third block for a total of 3 stacks. So this is pretty much going to allow the gods that high res or intended to use this armor. So the more the more armor you get, obviously our tanks are going to have more protections, the more blocks you're going to get. So it's pretty much, it was a sneaky way of making this item be used the way it was intended to. So I applaud them for that. I can see that. So okay, so the next one is charged bow, right? So charged bow is the Sidious's bow, level 2. And the way this, it's a niche type item, it doesn't have any attack power on it, but it has really high attack speed, and it arcs. It does those arcs, which at when it's fully built into Sidious's bow, it does 60% of his damage onto multiple enemies, right? Now, what this is going to end up doing is at level 2 currently right now, it's not all that effective. It does 15% of your basic attack power, right? So 15% is better than nothing, but it's still kind of weak. So what they're trying to do is trying to entice more people to use this item. So what they ended up doing is doubling the percentage of a damage that it does at level 2 when it's in charged bow, right? So instead of doing 15% basic attack power scaling, now it does 30% attack power scaling when it arcs out. So that's pretty significant. Achivio bow. On this one, is a very powerful item, as we all know, especially for hunters. But the thing is that sometimes, when you're trying to juke your opponent, a lot of times it was very easily to lose those stacks. 3 seconds, it wasn't that much. So what they ended up doing is almost doubling the amount of time that buff stayed up. So they increased it from 3 seconds to 5 seconds, which I think is going to be very significant for this item and very beneficial. So we'll see how that works. Now, Quorn's coin, all they did is increase the HP 5 and MP 5, which in Arena we don't care about, so whatever, dude. Doom Orb. This is going to be actually pretty significant. What they ended up doing is they're going to reduce the cost of Doom Orb from 3,000 gold to 2,850 gold. So it's going to bring it pretty much in line with Soul Reaver. Now, Soul Reaver was one of my favorite items before they ended up nerfing it and taking away, some of its attack power. So by having Doom Orb cheaper than Rada Tahuti, but still having way more attack power than Soul Reaver, I think this is pretty much going to be a really awesome item that you might want to take a look at. I'm definitely going to do some testing with it at this price point, because this will definitely allow me to close out my builds on a lot of my gods. Especially, I'm really eyeballing this for maybe a Zeus build, part of my Zeus, maybe Baron. I'll have to look at it. Okay, so the next one is Warlock Staff. And Warlock Staff, what they're doing is they're reducing the price of this one by 150 gold. This is an also significant one, especially for Baba Yaga, right? This for Baba Yaga early game is going to be huge, because not only did they reduce the cost of the staff, but they increased the magical power of it at level 2 from 30 to 45. 15 attack power, magic power, that early in game is going to be huge. So I think that's going to allow Baba Yaga to have a little bit more punch in addition to other mages out there, right? The next item that I want to talk about is Bulwark of Hope. So Bulwark of Hope is an awesome defense item that I like using, especially on my Ares. I use it on I use this on a lot of my Guardian builds, but I definitely use it on my Ares tank build. And what it does is it in addition to all the standard stats, what it does is at its current state is when you get hit and get damage done to you less than 30% of your overall damage. It pops up this shield around you and it buys you time, right? It gives you more hit points for a small couple of seconds to be able to finish off your opponent or get the heck out of there or to receive a heal, right? So, but we know with today's changes and added penetrations and this and that, that 30 to 0 comes pretty quick, especially with all the chain CC we're seeing in Arena these days. So what they ended up doing is they increased the threshold from 30% to 40%. So now when you fall below 40%, it will trigger the shield, allowing you to have a little bit more reaction time to either fight or flight, right? And again, these changes are not designed for Arena, they're designed for Conquest, but I think Arena is going to really benefit from this one here. And then Heartward Amulet. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't use this item, but they increase Aurora where it gives your allies magical protections by 5. It's pretty beneficial. Pestilence, another item I don't use. They increase the health you get with this item by 5. I don't think that's going to make any difference. Contagion armor, I don't use this again. They increase the hit points by 50, and I don't think that's going to do much for it. Mystical Mail. This is an awesome tank item that I definitely use pretty much on all my tanks. And what it does is once it's at full state, once it's fully built, it does this aurora around you that does 40 hit points of damage, right? This on an Ares is so awesome because you get those chains on there. So the initial tick from the chains plus the aurora from this the 40 tick from this armor could be pretty beneficial. Additionally, it allows a guardian to clear minions like that quick, man. You can just slice them through like a hot knife through butter. Because I know as a guardian, I get so frustrated when I get minion blocked, right? So this really helps to clear that too. So that's going to be a very welcome. A very welcome improvement to my Ares build. 100 gold doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking early game, and I think I build this item maybe my second or third item, yeah, it could be pretty beneficial for sure. So now it's going to come to the one of two of the biggest changes that's going to really affect Arena, and that's going to be Artemis. Artemis is getting a buff, and there's no other way to say it. She's getting buffed. Now, granted, this buff wasn't intended for Arena, but Arena is really going to benefit from this, especially if you're an Artemis main. And what they're going to do is they're going to give Artemis the ability to cleanse herself of slows and become immune to slows for 0.6 of a second, so a little bit more than half a second when active, right? What? So, and the thing is, it says be able to cleanse yourselves of slows. I did not get a chance to test this in the PTS server yet, right? Or at all. So I don't understand as of yet, and I'm going to have to look at it exactly how significant, what do they mean by slows? Are they talking about actually slows like snares, or are they including all out roots as slows? You know what I'm saying? Are they talking about CC? So that's something I would have to check out. If we're talking slows, we might be talking about the Baron's Wrap, where it slows you down. Maybe Cupid's ult. Maybe we're talking about, Ymir, when he puts that frost on the ground. That could be pretty beneficial. But if we're talking all out Cupid stun, Nox lockdown, Ymir freeze, another Artemis trap, that could be pretty OP. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know if it's that significant. We're going to have to do some testing. Either way, being able to get unsnared, because as soon as you hit that number 2, you get that speed buff. Now you're going to be able to shake any slow that you have on you. So if somebody used, that trinket that slows everybody around you, you pop that out, it doesn't even affect you. And you got that speed buff, so you can get the heck out of dodge. So either way, it's going to be pretty OP. So keep an eye out for that. I think that's going to be very beneficial for Arena with the crazy CC we got going today. So I'm definitely going to want to check that out once it goes live. Okay, Baba Yaga. What they ended up doing for Baba Yaga, they actually gave her a small buff. What they did, instead of having the various different cooldowns for number 2, starting at level 1 up to level, was it 5? They just gave her a 14-second cooldown across the board. So they shaved 2 seconds off her level 1, level 2, and 1 second off her level 3. So that's pretty beneficial for Baba Yaga. Okay, Shock. This is a pretty decent buff for Shock. They increased his physical power of his Thunder Strike from 60% to 70% of his attack power, which is a pretty significant, I think. I mean, you got to think about it. That's what, 10 damage per 100. I mean, that's pretty big. Shanji, for this one. This god is already a pain in the butt to try to kill. Between her being able to go to immune for a couple seconds, and her being able to heal herself, yeah, she's a very hard god to pin down, especially if she's built correctly. But what they ended up doing is they increased her hit points, and they increased the scaling of her hit points per level. So yeah, look forward to having even a bigger pain in the butt trying to kill her now. Okay, so moving on. So Ganyu. Ganyu now, he has that assault where he goes. So what they ended up doing, and that thing does mass damage, let me tell you. So they ended up buffing it a little bit by 5 attack across the board on that one. Is it going to be significant? I don't know. When you start talking about per tick, yeah, it could actually add up pretty well. So that, yeah, Ganyu just got that much more powerful, right? So Jeb is one of those guys. He's a niche type god, right? To me, Jeb is boring. I cannot play a Jeb. He's just so boring to me, man. But there's a lot of really good Jeb players out there. But the thing is, he suffers. I think he suffers from a lot of his attacks, So I was very happy to see that they're going to end up buffing his Shockwave. And his Shockwave, I believe, is his number 3 attack. I could be wrong. It's one of his attacks. I think it's his number 3 attack. And what it's going to do is it's going to increase the damage dealt at max range from 50% to 70%. And what it is he does a Shockwave and it ripples out. And it does a knockup of multiple gods. So that's pretty cool, right? Because it's like an instance. So somebody's trying to cast something. It pretty much knocks them out of that cast. So it stuns them for that split second. That could be very beneficial. Plus, it does damage. The closer you are to him when he does that, the more damage, and then it decreases as it goes out, at currently up to 50%. Now, what they're going to be doing is that the decrease is going to be less, so you're going to be doing more damage within this attack range, up to ending at 70%. So you're gaining a 20% more damage on this attack, which could be pretty significant for Jeb, and I think he needs it, man. Jeb needs a little bit of love. Okay, so moving on to Nemesis. Nemesis, as we all know, is a lethal assassin, very lethal. So what they ended up doing for her is they actually decreased her slice and dice by 5 across the board, starting at level 1 all the way across to level 5. Is 5 going to be a significant change for Nemesis? I don't think so. I think Nemesis is going to be Nemesis. She's going to be just as lethal as she is now. Whether you feel 5 points is yet to be seen. I don't think you're going to feel it at all, to tell you the truth. So I don't think that's going to be a very big change. Okay, so here we go. Ra. This is going to be very significant. As we know, Ra is a pretty powerful god, but he's not played much because in Arena, especially because he's very hard to. He's one of those pinpoint type damage dealers, right? So his celestial beam, you have to actually be right on target. I mean, you literally have to snipe somebody in order to pull it off, and it's not instant. It goes out, so so people have time to maybe sometimes dodge it. With that said, though, if you did get hit with it, not only did you get hit with the base damage of this attack, but you also tacked on 90% of Ra's attack power on top of it, which is pretty significant. And it's kind of like giving a reward for actually landing that attack, because at long ranges, I'm telling you, that attack is not easy to land at all, but it does do a lot of damage. So what they ended up doing is actually increasing the damage scaling of this, or the amount of damage that you tag onto this attack based on your attack power, from 90 to 100%. So now you'll be able to do base attack power plus 100% of your magic item power, which is huge, right? So we're looking at 10 more damage points per 100, and the average raw is going to have at least 500 attack power. So you're looking at an extra 50 points of damage minimum on this attack. So that's pretty significant. Now, Divine Light. Divine Light has a lot of things it does. You know, it slows people, it blinds people. But the thing that they're going to add to this that's going to make this awesome for Raw is the same thing that they added for Artemis. They're going to allow you to cleanse yourself of slows and instantly, and then be immune to slows for another 0.6 of a second, almost half a second. Again, right out of the get-go, if it's just for snares, it's still going to be, and snares, slows, what have you, it's still going to be pretty beneficial. But if we're including roots and lockdowns, man, that's going to be huge, very huge. And for Raw, you know, he really doesn't have much in the way of an escape. You know, the only thing you can hope is they hit that Divine Light and try to hit boots and get the heck out of there, right? So I think I can see how Raw really needed something. So I can see this on him. I think it's going to be more beneficial on Artemis than him, but I think that they both will benefit dramatically. So this is one of those I'm going to keep an eye on and do a little bit of testing once it goes active. Okay, so next comes Zeus, right? So they increased Zeus' base's attack speed from 0.87 to 0.95. Why? I don't know. They just wanted to get Zeus's picture on this website or what? I mean, are we really going to feel that? I mean, seriously, what is that? That's like, what, 0.07? Well, I mean, a 0.08. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, dude. Well, anyway, he's going to get his basic attack speed buff. You ain't going to feel it, man. You're not going to feel that. Okay, Odin, right? Odin is getting a pretty decent buff. Now, his Gunnar's Might is going to decrease the cooldown from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. 2 seconds on any item decrease is huge. I don't care what it is. 2 seconds is a lot, especially when you start talking about that's before any type of cooldown reduction, right? So I think that this is going to be very OP on Odin. This is really going to help him out to dish out a lot more damage. So definitely watch out for that. Okay, so Humpback. Humpback is one of those guys that you just don't see too many people using nowadays. And I don't know. I myself, the only time I ever played Humpback was for the video that we did because our subscribers requested them, right? But I think that they're starting to see that Humpback is not really being used as much ever since they buffed them way back when. So what they're doing, I think, is they were kind of reversing the buff they did on it, or debuff they did on him, I should say, and buffing him up a little bit, to see if more and more people actually start using them. So what they did is they increased his Fear No Evil. They decreased the cooldown down on it from 120 seconds to 110 at level 1, and then 5 down from there. So ending at 90 seconds late game. So this is his ult where he drops down those totems and you hear that music go on in the beating of the drums. And what it does is it fears enemy gods from the center of where he puts the totems and makes them fear outward, and as they're running out they get a small dot of damage against them. I can see that as being pretty OP and definitely a pretty good initiator when it comes to combining ults or working with other gods. So, I welcome that. I think Humpbacks need a little bit of love. So, it is what it is. So, hey, that's pretty much all of our changes for the 7.9 update. What do you think? Do you think that some of these updates are going to be pretty OP or a little too OP? What are your thoughts about Artemis? Being able to cleanse herself of slows, or Raw? Or Artemis. Yeah, man, I think for Artemis, I think that Artemis is going to be played a lot more now, to tell you the truth. I mean, yeah, she's not going to be doing that much more damage, but to be able to escape some of that craziness that's happening in Arena, that chain CC, those chain stuns, those chain snares, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty beneficial. But hey, I would love to hear from you guys. Put your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, hey, please subscribe. I'm Darkgarza, Yogi on the GC. See you next time.